This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right, it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
it's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is Dr. Daniel Knowles, your host. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are watching, listening, whatever altitude you may be at, and wherever it is, make sure you hit subscribe, whether it's iTunes or Spotify. Make sure you never miss any Mile High tick, whatever altitude you're at. And we're at Mile High altitude where we anticipate you will be in September for Mile High 13. Oh my God. Don't let the 13 scare you. Rise up to milehigh.com. And really grateful to have as a guest today the one and only Dr. Marcia Schaefer. She's been a Mile High participant as a speaker before, as well as on a panel multiple times. And she's just an incredible soul. And she grew up in Wisconsin, which is where she is right now. We're talking. And she went to Davenport, Iowa to pursue her dream to be a doctor of chiropractic. And, has worked in many fields, and we're really grateful to have her with us today. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Marcia Schaefer.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Glad to have you. And you just came back from Atlanta back to Wisconsin. What was taking you to Atlanta?
I was teaching. It was an ICPA weekend and graduation weekend as well, but it was a fun weekend in Atlanta.
Yeah, this ICPA thing's kind of a big deal.
It is. It is an incredible organization.
Good. And Marcia Schaefer is kind of a big deal.
Thanks.
So let's have people get to know you a little bit. Tell us what brought you into the chiropractic world.
I was an athlete in college, and junior year I got hurt, and my mom suggested a chiropractor. After weeks of PT, did nothing. And I went to a Gonstead chiropractor because, of course, I'm in Wisconsin. And 2 adjustments later, I was like, this is crazy. I have got to, this is what I'm going to do. And I was already pre-med. I am a first-generation chiropractor. Nobody in my family, everybody's in medicine. And so I literally thought Davenport Palmer was the only chiropractic college because that's all I had heard. I knew nothing of any of the other schools.
Wow.
So I went to Palmer, and it is a great school. Now that I know Sherman exists and I found out Life University exists, amazing journey though.
No, you were a nursing assistant before going to chiropractic school.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to work in healthcare, but I was really frustrated as a nursing assistant because it felt like I was always behind the ball. It always felt like I couldn't actually help people live a higher quality of life because you had to follow the rules and everything that was set forth. But I loved anatomy and physiology. I loved being able to help people, and chiropractic had a great home for me.
Okay, great. And so you're a lot of medical people in your medical field, people in your family were in the nursing path and then ended up going to chiropractor because after a few visits, it changed your athletic performance or function or injury.
Yeah. Cool.
And now you have a birth center. Am I correct? Not correct?
I do. So we have a freestanding birth center. I work on the other side of the building, but we do have the space available for people to have babies because of the work that I do now. A lot of our moms were like, okay, I don't want to birth in the hospital. I'm not comfortable birthing at home, but I want a supportive area that I can birth. And so I built it. Wow.
Great. Tell us about that. Like, what kind of birth center is it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work in the preconception field, and it's really interesting because without Mile High, I actually wouldn't have found my passion back for chiropractic. And I was pretty jaded when I left chiropractic college because I didn't know what didn't know what to think about subluxation. And so it was a long journey for me. I got diagnosed with cancer right out of school after I graduated, and found, I mean, I didn't use the traditional medical model to heal, but it made me question the science and philosophy behind chiropractic a lot. And that journey led me to the work that I do today with preconception work. And so getting nervous systems working better and functioning better is huge. It's a huge component of fertility. It's a huge component in the stress response. And I feel that if someone will be comfortable in the hospital, amazing, fantastic, go give birth in the hospital. If they're comfortable at home, amazing, go do that. But there's a lot of people who are still learning to trust themselves. And I feel like that's where the power in chiropractic is, because it's returning that power and that trust back to the person to say, look what your body can do. This is incredible. So I wanted a space that would honor that.
Well, I want to go back to that. I want to ask you about preconception, and I want to ask you about sperm. So before I do that, go back, you said at Mile High, you like rekindled your passion for chiropractic, and you told me it really helped shift direction, what's come up for you in the last couple of years. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so Donnie called me out and he asked me why I hated chiropractic. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I did, but I didn't. And so I stayed Sunday. So I highly suggest staying Sunday during Mile High. And it was just, he went through his program, and it was the first time I had ever heard Donnie speak. And I mean, the weekend was already a transformational weekend. You know, there's only one other home that when I leave the weekend, I actually feel more energized from a chiropractic event, and that is ICPA. But I left Mile High and I was just on a high. And I was like, this is absolutely the community that I've got to be involved with. These people are incredible. The doctors are incredible. You guys, you and Rochelle do such an amazing job getting all of that together. And your team as well. But yeah, I mean, I went up to my hotel room that night and I wrote over 30 pages, and I just processed. And what I realized what the problem was, and where my disconnect was. And then it was changing from there. But it was literally the catalyst that started to shift everything with me, and returning my love back to chiropractic.
Wow, exciting. That's super, super exciting. That was which year? Was that 20? Was Mile High 12? Not Mile High 12, was Mile High 11? I don't remember which year it was. But regardless. All right. Anyway, so now let's talk about preconception. Like, what is preconception? What does that mean when you say you work in epigenetic preconception?
So preconception, a lot of people, it's becoming a buzzword. People are starting to think it's a really good idea to say this is a natural way to get pregnant. And that is absolutely not what preconception actually is.
Okay.
Preconception care in the more global sense is about optimizing health. It's about optimizing the expression of life in both him and her, so that when conception does happen, you've got this radiantly healthy baby. Because we know that there is an energetic frequency that happens at the moment of conception, and that energy stays with the baby their entire life. So to have parents that are not saying, oh, I'm ovulating today, let's go get pregnant, that's a very different space to be in. But you know, a lot of times people are saying, trust birth. We've got to trust this process. We're meant to birth. And it's like, yes, we're meant to birth, but if you don't even trust in your ability to get pregnant, carry a pregnancy, and navigate that journey, you're not just going to magically come up with this massive amount of trust when you're pregnant. So preconception care is optimizing the health of both male and female prior to conception, so that as pregnancy is an effect of health, their health is optimized. So it's ultimately focused in vibrantly healthy adults, so that the next generation can finally have the ease or even opportunity. I feel like opportunity will be so much better for those kids because they're starting out with such a stronger chance at life.
Okay. So what do we do to optimize someone, help someone be in an optimal state before conception, is in preconception?
Yeah, so the main things that I have people work on is metabolic flexibility. And it's, again, really interesting because when I left chiropractic college, jaded against chiropractic, I went to nutrition. And, you know, I kept finding myself being like, oh, this for that, the reductionist model, I just can't do this with nutrition. And the very first person who came to me when she was like, well, what does a chiropractor do with fertility? Like, what could you possibly do? I said, well, when your nervous system works better, everything works better. So, that's got to be optimized first. And so many people think, oh, cortisol, we're going to do saliva testing and whatever other test for it. But the nervous system is going to control that. So, having nervous system tone and the nervous system functioning, optimally nervous system functioning the best it can. And then supporting nutrition, depending on what it is. There's foundational requirements that us as human beings have, from fats to vitamin D to iodine, things like that. And then a lot of the other things that I focus on tend to be lifestyle stuff, but in the sense of building trust, if that makes sense. So the person building trust in themselves, because a lot of times people think, oh, I'll go to the gym or I'll do this or I'll do that. And it works for a little bit and then it doesn't. But a lot of my work is saying, well, when you're not doing it, what are you telling yourself? Because if it's ultimately, see, I told you you can't follow through with anything, or, it's breaking your trust, I guess you should say, that becomes a challenge in the preconception period, because it can be easy to lose hope if you're not pregnant right away when you think you're going to get pregnant, or the journey looks harder.
Right, right. Wow, that's a lot to take in. So there's a birth center and then there's a chiropractic center. They're next to each other, two different wings.
Two different wings. Yep.
Okay. And what's going on in the chiropractic center?
So in the chiropractic side, we're actually bringing in other practitioners, but the goal is, my entire practice, it's called the Marquee Collective, and it's focused in salutogenic care. So we chose that we wanted to have a place that first honored the philosophy that we want to follow, and then find practitioners that are going to want to align with that as well. And it turns out that there's quite a few people that are interested in a different way to look at healthcare. And that's been really awesome. My goal has always been a collective instead of having everyone here on site that we can refer out. And we've got a lot of partners in the community.
Okay. Okay. So, this sounds like pretty exciting in Wisconsin.
It's fun. It's the first of its type in the area, and we don't have a birth center, so now the Madison area does.
Okay, cool. And how many people are involved with this?
So when we're full, we're going to have at least, 7 at least, and then we can always have more on top of that.
Okay, cool. So and now, excuse me, we have to ask about something else. So at Mile High, there was a clip that we took from one of your presentations at Mile High, and you were talking about sperm. You were talking about sperm at Mile High, and that kind of went viral. I mean,
Yes.
So what were you talking about, and why did that become such a big thing?
So yeah, I was answering questions that people were asking about sperm, and I think it's because I made the statement that there's, this shouldn't be a shock, but it takes 2 to have a baby. And, so much of the focus is on the female. And a lot of my research, as I've been helping more, our 180th baby was born 2 months ago.
Wow.
So, I've been doing enough work that I can tell, well, if we did this, it's all reverse engineered. So I go back to the quality of the birth and the pregnancy and say, what did we do different? And as soon as I started working with Dad, we saw these pregnancy outcomes just disappear, like morning sickness was gone. We don't see the preeclampsia. We don't see a lot of the pregnancy complications. And I was like, wow, this is really a lot bigger. So I went to the literature. Turns out that it's in the literature as well. And I was like, okay, well, I missed that one, but I'm seeing it clinically. So now I'm validating it, by also finding it in the literature. It's pretty wild.
Okay. Cool. Then what is, like, people say genetics, and then they say epigenetics, and they're like, well, what is that? Why is it important? And epigenetics becoming a word that's used all the time.
Yeah.
With that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, back in 2000, they did the Human Genome Project, and
Okay.
they intended to say genes cause disease because genetic determinism is the primary focus in the medical field. And so they're going to say, oh, your family member had cancer, it's running in the family, you're going to get it too.
The bricks are there, then you're going to get it.
Right, right. So the problem with genetic determinism is the entire purpose of that is to make you a victim, and then you need a rescuer, you need a hero, you need somebody, and medicine says, oh, well, we have this magic thing. I don't know if you saw what just happened, but 23andMe, the genetic company,
No.
um, okay, she went bankrupt, and
Oh, wow.
everyone's concerned about, oh no, my data is getting sold. GlaxoSmithKline got it in 2018, and they knew that they were going to create drugs and therapeutics from your DNA back in 2018. And they've been taking it ever since. And the problem with that is in the Human Genome Project, we learned that genes can't cause disease because humans don't have enough genes for the genes to cause disease. So, you know, that we knew that information, and then all of a sudden, the epigenetic testing came out, and magically genes now again cause disease. So we can't have it both ways. And so, you know, people, MTHFR is a popular one that people blame, and the breast cancer BRCA1, that these are some of the epigenetic tags that people are like, oh no, I have this, therefore I do that. But what we could learn from a salutogenic model, what we can learn from chiropractic is that the body makes no mistakes. And if the body didn't make mistakes, why would that expression be there? Well, the expression for MTHFR, for example, if we're taking that one, could it be if you're not able to detox, that your nervous system is saying, I've got to slow you down. Like you're unable to adapt to the situation that you're in right now. I'm going to change how your body's responding, your liver's responding, so that you get a chance to get ahead of this. And so that's more of the epigenetic understanding, but you can use a pathogenic lens for epigenetics, or you can use a salutogenic lens to perceive your journey down the epigenetic rabbit hole.
Okay. Okay. Now then what does chiropractic have to do with epigenetics?
Ooh. So chiropractic, I mean, the entire ability for you to express health and express life is through your nervous system. And as your brain is your chemist, and we know that all of the drive of the spine and nervous system goes to the brain, your epigenome is literally reading your environmental cues to say, are we safe? Are we not? And so getting regular chiropractic care is sending more signals to the brain to say, this is safe, the world is okay. Because you're in that more, well, rest and digest should be in the more relaxed state when you're getting checked. So it just allows for better expression.
Okay.
I should say just. Just is better. Not just, but it allows for better expression.
Here's the thing: it has been the almost like a fatalist, like, oh, your genetics are this, so this is what's going to happen to you, and so it's kind of just, well, why even try? Because my uncle had cancer, so I'm going to have cancer, or whatever it is. That's been the thought process that has been pervasive, and so. People just even give up on taking care of their bodies or trying to be healthy or putting energy into being healthy versus that, yes, you do have an influence on them.
Yeah, absolutely. If they don't believe they have an influence, then they don't think there's anything they can do.
Right. And then you can surrender your power to medical companies and pharmaceutical companies or surgeries or whatever it might be, because there's no input you will have. But apparently, the type of sperm you have will impact preconception.
Absolutely. There's a lot of research into what sperm can do, from preeclampsia to morning sickness to all sorts of other things.
Ah, okay. So it goes both ways, we're saying.
Absolutely. There's male and female factors to everything. I mean, it's not one person, but we do know there are certain things that are more tied to sperm.
So we can't just blame the women. We also can't just blame the men.
Correct.
It's both.
Yes.
All right. I just want to make sure I got that straight.
It is a shared journey. It is not,
okay.
Yeah.
So all the people that want to just blame the women, they're wrong. And also the people that want to just blame the guys are also wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we got that straight. We don't want anybody misquoting us or anything like that, or that we misspeak, or so it's all there. So then what are some things that you've seen in supporting people in preconception that created a transformation? or a shift in caring for them through this process?
Yeah, I think the biggest shifts that we see is the change in the relationships that the two individuals have to each other. So when your nervous system is more at ease and you're taking care of yourself and you're working on your health, you respond not only to yourself different, but everybody else in your world. And so when you get these couples that are working together and they're both in their own journey, fertility can be very frustrating. It can be very, very hard on couples because they each blame themselves. And instead of, the blame that is there, watching these couples start to grow together, they're different parents. Their stress response is different. It amazes me that people will bring their babies to chiropractors and be like, fix my baby. Please check my baby for subluxation. You'll check the baby for subluxation, and then the parents are not getting checked, and you're giving this clear baby to subluxated parents, and they're stressed out, they're having a hard time. That baby's gonna not hold as easily as they would if the parents were under care. So
wait, let's get this straight. So the baby's nerve system has to be clear, and then also the parents have to be unsubluxated as well, because if the parents are subluxated, it can affect the baby.
Right.
Okay. And I'm assuming the subluxated baby can affect the parents.
Most likely, yes.
Most likely. So everybody's got to be unsubluxated.
Right. Yeah.
So basically, at the end of the day, we want everyone experiencing life through a healthy nerve system. Is that's the deal?
Absolutely.
Okay. So whether it's preconception or postconception, being unsubluxated is important.
Absolutely. Unless that subluxation's creating a different message for you.
Okay. Well, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole other topic.
Whole other topic. Okay. So then, with having this center, do you have lots of people in other fields collaborating under it?
So I have kept my work really quiet. I've been working only with chiropractors since I really started getting anything going in 2017. So it's just now starting that we're creating a more collaboration because of this space. I needed to get into a larger space. Well, I thought that I needed it, but yeah, it's just starting now. We've got lots of interest in other providers that are wanting to figure out what we're doing because our birth outcomes are so good. So that's been a huge piece of the interest.
Okay. So basically we're saying that chiropractic, or let me say it a different way, subluxation is an impact on preconception.
Absolutely.
And can we expand on that? In what way? What have we seen?
Well, so with subluxation, we see people that, first off, their hormones are not working well. This is where the conversation, like subluxation is cause or effect. I go back and forth with that. But when they're subluxated, it's just harder. Their hormones are not working as easily or as smoothly. And I find that a lot of times they're faster to anger, they're quicker to, they're not as calm. So when they're when they're checked regularly, their system seems to be a lot more at ease, and they seem to be able to function and carry their pregnancies really, really well.
Got it. Exciting. So this is something for people to realize because, this is one of the big things of, you know this, I know this, we've been on this, beating this drum on the bandwagon for a long time. Subluxation and taking care of your spine and chiropractic is not about how you feel, but it's how you heal. But here it's also about how you birth, not just helping someone, being comfortable through pregnancy, but that they actually, the type of baby they have will be impacted, or the health of the baby will be impacted by their spine and nerve system.
Absolutely. So
it's the big idea. It's the chiropractic big idea. You never know how far reaching something. You getting adjusted in the spouse getting adjusted and the mom, that then all has an effect. So then, if we realize that, for how many generations has it been that we've had less than an optimal population because people not having chiropractic care, right?
Right.
So do we even really have an idea of how massive an impact we have on this chiropractic has on fertility and birth outcomes?
No, I think it is just, just my clinic alone and, some of my certified docs, as we've seen these people come through and the quality of their lives and watching your own children. I can't tell you how many people have one baby and they have not had chiropractic care. They have not done, they got pregnant and they never thought a chiropractor would have anything to do with that. And then something happens and they have a challenge with the second one, or they want a better experience. Maybe they had a bad experience and then they say, I want chiropractic, I want this work. And they say, oh my gosh, I feel like I have a completely different pregnancy, completely different kid. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you watch these families, and all of our families are wellness families that are coming from the preconception space. They stay here, they have all their babies, and then they want to grow their families. So it just builds this natural wellness practice that's focused in these families that it's not about neck pain and back pain. It's about, I want optimal wellness. I want to function at a higher level. And that's an amazing place to walk into every day.
Right, absolutely. And it's about people going towards more instead of less.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this is the thing, when you're going for healthcare and you're really thinking healthcare is about you having less of something you don't like, then it really minimizes the amount of gain that you can have from something, because your gain is going to be less, because it's going to be less of something you don't like versus what is the potential that I can reach if I was, unobstructed. So then, here's the next thing. How do we help more of America, more of the world understand that?
I think it's having the conversations. I think it's saying, do you know so? Right now, infertility they're saying 1 in 4 couples.
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is huge. There's a huge number of people that are dealing with fertility challenges. And not to get back on the sperm thing, but to get back on the sperm thing, the research that they're showing is saying that sperm counts are going to be 0 by 2045. And no one's having the conversation about what's happening and what they've moved the standard very quietly. Every single year it keeps going down. The sperm counts have decreased by over double the rate that they did from 2000 to 2011. And so,
the sperm counts have gone down double? They've decreased by double? Is that what you're saying? Since
the rate of decrease.
The rate of decrease.
Yep.
Since 2000.
Yep.
That's not good.
No, it's not. And nobody's talking about it because it's this apparently weird situation to talk about. But, when you start to see these pregnancy outcomes and these moms who are having just really, really awful pregnancies, the question should be, what can we do to prepare these moms? How can we change this? And I think I found a really effective way to do it. But
well, and what are they saying is the reasons why there's been a decrease in sperm count?
What do they say? So they're saying
both. What's the common
I think
story?
We watched sperm counts. The biggest decline that happened, we went from 113 million per mil to 66 million per milliliter between 1940 and 1990. And so right in the middle.
50 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So we dropped 50% in 50 years, and concentration decreased over 50%. Right in the middle of that time was the introduction of birth control. So I think we've got a lot of estrogens that are definitely challenging the world. And I think it's kind of been this untested study where we're putting hormones into women who are having boys, and we're not thinking about the long-term impact of that. So there's a book called Countdown by Shayna Swan. She works at Mount Sinai. She talks more about different why sperm numbers are going down. But it's basically our population is not healthy. we're just not as healthy as we used to be. And so anything that we can do to improve and create optimal health is going to be definitely supporting people.
Well, now, and what are some of you said you have solutions? What are the things that you've seen that have helped this situation?
I'm working with certain supplements, different supplements, but then the biggest thing is going to be stress and metabolic flexibility. So getting insulin in check and working on adapting to stress easier. It's not something that's ever going to go away, but it's something that we can respond to more effectively versus not as effectively.
So what is metabolic flexibility? Like people say someone has a low metabolism, I have a slow metabolism or fast metabolism, but what's metabolic flexibility?
So metabolic flexibility understands like the hybrid cars, right? You can use gas and you can use electricity, right? That's fats and carbohydrates. Your body should be able to burn fats as an energy source, and then you should be able to burn carbohydrates as an energy source without a big transition between the two. That means your body is metabolically flexible. It's not about just being a keto or a fat burner or whatever, all the different labeled diet types, but it's how your body and your metabolism can actually work with the fuel that we know that the body needs.
Got it. Got it. So, what would you, if you were to wave a magic wand, what would you like Marcia's magic wand says the world changes this way. What would you like to see?
I would love to see that every single couple, it's not a question of whether they're going to do preconception care. They're going to make sure that they're in an adaptable nervous system state and they are preparing for pregnancy, not just hoping it's going to happen.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were going to say more sperm. So
Definitely not.
But sperm count going up would be part of that.
That would be powerful.
That'd be good. All right. Just want to make sure. So I mean, people really like that clip talking about it. And what are you going to have an interview on?
So I'm actually going to be on Brandy Harvey's Vault Empowers, which is her podcast out of Atlanta, but also like BuzzFeed and Airmail and
BuzzFeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was that caught that on from there. So, here's the thing. Health is not just about symptoms going away and having less of something you don't like, but having something more joy, more energy, more function. And when it comes down to it, that is pre and post conception. In fact, it's all the time. There's not a time that health isn't an option or isn't a priority to take care of. It's something that is always required.
Absolutely.
Which people tend to not think. So what's next for Marcia Schaefer?
I hope that we get to publish. I hope this year we get some more of our case studies out and we get chiropractic in a bigger light of why this is so important and why birth providers, midwives, doulas, OBs, why they should have a chiropractor as part of these healthcare teams, because it's such a vital piece to making birth easier, pregnancy easier, fertility easier, and that would be an amazing thing for us to end 2025 with.
And you teach for the ICPA.
Yes.
What do you teach?
I teach the Epigenetics and Parental Health course.
Okay, which sounds important. Okay.
It's helping docs.
So then what's next for the ICPA?
Yeah, the ICPA is having its 40th anniversary. So that's
40 years.
40 years. It's wild.
Now I'm feeling old.
Yeah, it's and been an incredible ride. I've been with them since 2015 and a lot has changed. And it's just we are leading the pediatric movement to change this in lots of different areas, from neurodevelopmental into the preconception and into, of course, the birth and pregnancy.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, so this is all very exciting. And, I'm very excited that people can have the opportunity to go to the ICPA's 40th anniversary, 40th birthday. What are we going to call it? What are we going to call it? Is it an anniversary or birthday?
Gosh, I think they're saying it's anniversary.
Anniversary. There wasn't any conception involved.
No. Well, actually,
that would
Larry wanted to start things. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So that would be it's in May of 2026. What year are we at? So that's exciting. And you're part of the Webster certification too, aren't you?
I'm part of the perinatal certification.
Perinatal certification. Okay. That's different than that, which is then part of preconception.
Yep. So there's the ICPA has made it. It used to be a 2-year program, but now you can get specialized. So you can say, I want the perinatal, which is, I believe, 7 classes. So you can get another certification as you move through the certification programs in the ICPA. Excellent.
Well, and what also is next is, of course, we're going to see you at Mile High, right? You're going to be there.
Absolutely.
Of course, you're not going to miss that. All right, cool. Wisconsin, Colorado, it's a short trip. It's just a matter of altitude. It's not really a lot of difference. So good. Well, I want to thank you for all the ground that you're breaking and all the energy you're putting in and the people that you're inspiring the lives that you're touching and all the preconception you're doing also. So is also good. So and really thank you so much for helping change lives in this new way and really helping people open eyes and open doors in a different way to their mind than what they thought was before, because that's needed for people to break barriers in that area.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, do you have any last message for our chiropractors and chiropractic students listening, watching?
I would just say love on those people and let them know if there are fertility challenges, if they know anyone. First off, if it's the ladies only, get the guys in, get them under care, help them make sure
There
that
you
their
go.
nervous system is functioning too.
There you go. Well, keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. We look forward to seeing you in September for Mile High 13, Marcia. And we also want to make sure people clear the dates for the ICPA 40th anniversary or birthday.
Yeah.
May of 2025. Do you know where they're going to have that? 2026?
In Reston, Virginia.
In Virginia, of course. But where else would you want to be? And we look forward to, thank you so much for all you contribute. And keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic.